Crazy. My name is Dr. Lewis Muchile Obunde. Shout out to Mzee Obunde mwenyewe. So thank you so much again for taking your time. Of course, it's Monday, and Monday blues and hangovers are all over. But thank you so much for taking your time to be here to listen to these health nuggets. Of course, you know how we do it in the best way possible. We hope we can actually impact you positively, and we also hope that we can bridge the gap between you and healthcare, because our intention on this platform is to make sure that we minimize the gap between the general public and healthcare. That's why we focus on making sure that we don't bring you medical jargons. We break them down in a language that everybody can actually understand, medical stuff, complicated matters. We make sure we bring it out in your language so that you easily understand it. I wish I could speak all your languages. I bring this show on Monday in Kikuyu, on Tuesday in Kiluya, on Thursday in Kiluo, and all that. As long as it sinks in, that's my business. So thank you so much for coming in once again. And I only request you to like and share the live. That's the only request that I make from you, so that we can actually get to reach more people. Our intention is not just to be here with you. It's also to be here with other people who are actually getting this information just like you, and changing their lives for the better. Because again, my role is to ease pain and suffering from God's people's lives. And I guess that's my purpose. And I'll leave that purpose until the day that I say, goodbye guys, goodbye on this surface of the planet. So thank you so much. Again, our physical consultations in Nairobi are starting on Tuesday. That is the 30th, I believe. Yes, the 30th of this month, all the way to, let me confirm. So the 30th, Tuesday 30th, all the way to the 9th of October. So we are starting from the 30th of September, Tuesday next week, that is, all the way to the 9th of October. And so 30th to the 9th. So if you wish to book a consultation with us, you can simply use the office contact to make a booking, and you can use WhatsApp. Kindly use WhatsApp, don't call. I've told you this multiple times, but people still call. So don't call, simply text on WhatsApp, and you shall receive a response on how to book an appointment, whether it's a physical consultation, an online consultation, or whichever it is. Team Kekeli 0707074723. No, it's not 23, it's 22. Kekeli, can you rectify that? It's 22 at the end. So the office contact is 0707. Let me just put it on YouTube so that people can actually use that to book for the physical consultation. 0707074722. So instead of saying, this online doctor, come and have a conversation with us, so that you can ask those questions, we get to answer and we get to move as a team. Thank you so much for rectifying that. 0707074722. That is our office contact. You can use the same contact to book your slot for the upcoming event on Ho's Expedition. It's a very interesting event that is going to come in on the 1st and 2nd of November, happening in Longonot. So we have a camp that is coming up on 1st and 2nd. So I've already told you that on 1st, of course, we're going to have a hike, and then we eat our first meal after the hike, and then of course we eat some meat. There's a bonfire. You can actually dance to some is it 𝗔𝗟𝗖𝗢𝗛𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗙, some music there. You can dance, and then you go and rest. The following day we wake up, simply go for a morning walk, barefoot of course, and then we can do an identity show on Sunday as we prepare to disperse. So it shall be an interesting 2 days. You can disconnect from people, reconnect with yourself, and then come and learn and unlearn, because we'll be there giving you all these health talks. We'll be there responding to questions and all that. We'll also be there trying to actually help you find your identity so that you drop the anger and you become a superhuman. So welcome on board. All right? You can use the same contact to actually inquire and make a booking. The event shall happen on 1st and 2nd of November. So thank you. Now, as I begin this, allow me to say hi to some individuals as you come in. Do not forget to tell us where are you watching us from, and so that you can shout out to people in your area code. On YouTube, people on YouTube are flocking in. Thank you. Hey, by the way, topic of the night, before you even forget this: alcoholic and nutritional ketoacidosis. We have talked about ketoacidosis before, right? We've had in-depth conversations about ketoacidosis, but amazingly, we still have these people who are still coming up asking about acidosis, protein allergies, salt and hypertension, and all these problems. So there are people who are constantly insisting about this, and actually I'm doing this because of a medical doctor who has constantly insisted to me about, oh, if you eat too much protein, that is ketoacidosis. If you do this, so I'm like, hey, bro, oh, you're fasting too much when you do this fasting. And this person, I don't know. Sometimes it's always fair to listen to somebody who looks fit to tell you things about health. Sometimes it's so irritating to just listen to somebody who is obese and they're telling you how to maintain a healthy weight. And then they defend their business by saying, you know, for me, it's my genes and all that. Imagine in this era, a whole medical doctor telling you that obesity is in the genes. A whole doctor telling you that. And then you sit there hoping that you can actually get better. He's selling you the hope that all of you have to be obese so that you feel better. All right? And yeah, you should walk out of that. Good. So let's see who is here. Oh, amazing. Safi's in the building. Welcome, Safi. Wamboi Kimani. Hello. Anna Odwar is here. I see Ramadan Ingaga. Purity Wamboi. Thank you so much, Daktari, for coming in. Thank you. I see Javan Leo. Karibu sana Javan from Luanda. Kariuki Nagi. Metaverse Group. Oh. Hola, amigos. Jen Mwendo is in the building. Nyakinyo Nyaks. J Opande. Waidira from Juja Kalimoni. Welcome, Waidira. I see Queen Nelly. I also see Esther Doku. Charles Tudabaso is in the building. Amazing. I see Sarah Vuma. I see Alpha Bright Computers. Oh man, Alpha Bright Computers. Thank you also for coming through. I see Sylvia Masoni. Sylvia, how are you? I see Chito Sakala from Zambia. I see Samson Mwangi watching the show from Banana Hill. Seeing Nairobi from a hill. Hello. Bro, enjoy those scenes, bro. Enjoy those sceneries, that breeze. Nature is talking. Wada Beno is in the building. Diana Weru, Janet Chepkoech. All of you are welcome. And as you join in, remember to like, because we want to make sure that we get to a number of likes that people can actually find the live. Remember, I'm not telling you to like the live because I want you to like. No, I'm telling you because I know how the algorithms of YouTube operate and also these other platforms. So you saw the other day on TikTok, they tried to block us from accessing a bigger audience. And you saw what happened to the numbers. So yes, we are here to make sure we correct that and we keep moving. Esther Ayuku, I see you. Karibuni sana. Okay, somebody from Ghana. I saw somebody from Ghana here. Yes, of course. Ajoa from Ghana, I see you. I see Masi Cheupe from Kitale. I see Junior Kimuyu. I see Charles Chimese from Zambia. Hey, Zambia have a lot of fans in Zambia. Tim Kekel is in the building. Sam K is in the building. I also see Kate Nduta. Nyambura Wawashira. Doc, I'm fasting, but after I break my fast, na bloat. Why? I'm not doing sugar or wheat. We were having a conversation about fasting before this show. And I think I'll address a lot of stuff about fasting through a story. Okay? Icon, I see you. I see Junior from Juja. I see Edufloritis. Keisha K. Amazing. Planet Cakes and Accessories. Hey, Planet, would you not feel like we are attacking your cakes business? Nico is here. I see you. I see Tyro. I see Zandi. I see Wanjiru. All of you are here. On Facebook, I see Sonia Nashipai in the Rito. Amazing. Why is it this way? All right, good. So, let me tell you something. You know, this journey of healthy living is interesting. Why? Because not everybody wants to live healthy. Not everybody wants to live healthy. In YouTube, if my sound is clear, kindly just wave. If you can hear me clearly, I know on TikTok the sound is very clear. If you can hear me clearly on Facebook and on YouTube, you can simply just give me a wave. I'll appreciate that. Tigiru Shege is in the building. Damaris Mbaire. Amazing. TikTok is very clear. Facebook is also clear. Amazing, amazing. Edwin Cheplel, asante. Asante sana, asante sana. Thank you so much for saying that. Once it's clear, we can easily move, right? All right. So, hey, Boniface Mudomi is also here. Amazing. So listen, we were having a conversation about fasting, okay? And we were just wondering, why is it that a 72-hour fast has become so easier than a 48-hour fast? Every time, of course, every weekend we do a 48-hour fast. Every week we are on OMAD or a 2MAD, depending on the situation or how you please. And we've realized with one of the guys in my team that the 72-hour fast becomes a little bit easier until they're about 60th to 63rd hour there, when your mind is always in the kitchen and trying to fight so hard to actually get out of that. But it's crazy. Daisy Koech, welcome. So we were wondering what happens during that time. Is it because you already set your mind that, you know what, on a 72-hour fast, which happens every end of the month, just once in a month, we have 2 nights to sleep. You sleep without eating, again you sleep without eating. So 2 nights before you before food gets into your mouth. But the 48-hour fast, you only need to sleep once and boom, you're there, it's done. But how is it possible that the 48 hours fast has become so difficult that most people will actually lie? People will wake up one day and tell you, you know, I've just finished a 48-hour fast. I see it on all my platforms. Somebody just wakes up and says, posts an app. Oh, I finished a 48-hour fast. I finished a 72-hour fast. I'm like, you finished it. Without, you who is asking me about the best fasting app. Now you just, from nowhere, you just boom and you finished a fast. Convince me. I need more convincing. So it is difficult. And then you want to fast, and everywhere you are, whether it's a workplace or at home, everybody's eating. Imagine those people who work from home. People work from home, their fridges are so restocked, refrigerators are very full already. And you tell me, please, convince me, how you can fast with food in that house. You tell me. You know, there are those people who come in and say, and I've been there anyway. People come and say, you know, I can't start a fast at 2. Me, I prefer starting the fast in the evening. And then one day they decide to fast at from 2. Like, but I just ate eggs. So will I even make it to Sunday? That time it's Friday. Will I make it to Sunday with these eggs? I'll just start in the evening. In the evening they eat again. Then the following day they failed. And they just say, see, people are finishing their fast on Sunday. Mine, I'll start now on Saturday. I'll just finish on Monday. Huh? What a lie. What a lie. What a lie. I don't have to join them. I mean, I know. On Mondays is the days that everybody is struggling. But for me, I have discipline on Monday. So I missed out on Friday evening. So see, I'm starting now. So it's Saturday. I'll finish on Monday. I'll go alone. As people break the fast, I'll not... I'll break camp in advance. I'll be alone on Sunday evening up to Monday evening. I'll do it. Mko na mchezo mingi sana, yaani nyinyi. And you're fasting and your daughter makes this good chapos with carrots and pumpkin, and then you start saying, pumpkin is healthy. I have a guy of mine who tells me that all the time. Bro, but I try to do even a 24-hour fast. Why do you consider 24-hour fast? That's not a fast. That's just a nomad. Bro, man, I try so hard to do a 24-hour fast, but my wife makes me some good chapos with pumpkins. But bro, you said pumpkins are good complex carbohydrates. I'm like, yeah. To make it even worse, he tells me, I bought ghee, bana. So my wife made chapos with ghee. I'm like, wow, hey, your wife must be very, hey. My friend, you do this, the chapatis just produce layers, Chapati natoa 2 layers, bana. Hey, man, hey. And if I resist, my wife becomes angry, bana. So I have to do it then, when I'm at work. Sometimes, bana, I try. But in the morning, sometimes I wake up, she has made very golden, looking mandazis. I'm like, hi. Today, I was to do a 24-hour fast today. Now my wife has made me golden. I call them golden mandazis. They're even cracking, There's a way they boil until they crack. I was so good at making mandazis and chapos. So is Abdiaziz. Oh man, and you're doing a 72-hour fast. And you're working in a hotel industry, in a food industry. You tell me how you'll resist even tasting that soup with the seed oils. Some of you live here and just your neighbor here, very good at making those chips, the French fries. You're coming from work, you're doing a 48-hour fast. You're just across the 24-hour mark, and the first thing that slaps you is chips. The harufu ya chipo. You're like, Dr. Lewis pia anakuwa na kierere. Sasa kwani kila weekend is nilifast last weekend. I fasted the other weekend. I mean, I don't have to fast this weekend. See, I'm not badly off. I mean, it's just chips. With some good chicken. I mean, see, chicken is protein. He did not deny protein. Let me just do what I have to do. I mean, I will fast anyway. I will join them next weekend. Some of you are fasting and Karo is having a birthday. Njeri is just retired and we have to celebrate Njeri. As a teacher, we bring her a wheelbarrow and some gumboots. And of course, they are making some good chapos there. How can you fast without? Hey, you just you just came in and you're telling your friends about stories about how you're fasting, and they've made this good githeri. You're like, githeri, I should drop githeri, and then it has some kawaru, Kikuyus with kawaru then. I'm like, I should drop githeri. And this guy is telling me that we have to fast at no, this githeri, and you know that githeri that was you make it today and then you let it just relax, you eat it tomorrow. With some short tea, milk. Hey, it's just water was added in milk. It's not like milk was added in water. It's water that was added in milk. You're like, Allah. So Dr. Levi is not seeing me anyway. Let me just do this. You guys have enrolled on Glovo apps. You're there and Glovo brings you pizza every Wednesday. If any case, they send you a text message and tell you, you know what? You've been a loyal customer. This week, we are giving you 2. Buy one, get one free. We have a family pizza. We're making you another one. 2. You're like, okay. There's also a half liter of Coca-Cola or 2 liters of Coca-Cola as an accompaniment. You're like, it's Wednesday, but I told these guys I'll not fast during the weekend. I'll fast this week. So I was just to say, okay. You even delete the app. Only to realize these guys can actually text you. You're like, shetani ananifuata kila mahali. With my hemorrhoids, how can I resist pizza? With my reflux, I mean, I can simply take Gaviscon double action. There's a new one in town. So it's crazy out here. I understand how it is. But you know what? That is where your strength comes from. That is where your strength comes. You have to fight through all these things. We are talking about alcohol tonight. How alcohol is responsible for something called ketoacidosis. How alcohol makes your blood acidic in nature. How does that happen? All right, so that is the topic of the night. And as we talk about that, I want you to understand this, that today is Monday. There's somebody somewhere who drank during the weekend, and of course, you don't have money. But I wonder, this year, almost every weekend is coming at the end of the month. Did you realize that? All holidays, all weekends are just coming at the end of the month. Somebody has been paid, and boom, the government paid government officials on 18th or 19th or so. And the weekend is here. Allah! Watakujua majina yote mawili. So I don't know what is happening. Holidays are coming during the weekend. Hey. Did you see what happened during what was this festival that was in Nairobi? This one, the Christian thing in Nairobi. What was it? What was it called? This fest that people were singing on along the town and all that. Please remind me of that name. Was it a festival or what was it? The videos were trending all over. I'm lucky I was in Nairobi, so I saw, yes, Rema. Thank you so much, Rema Fest. I'm lucky I was in Nairobi, so I saw the madness. I'm just like, hey, what? So you look at the videos that were trending for this Rema, and you're just imagining. So these are the people who actually hey, is this gospel or what is this? You could easily see that a lot of desperate people found a place to actually accumulate and just have all these crazy things. People nursing hangovers were there, dancing to gospel music. People shaking their behinds on gospel music. I'm like, where? Rema. I think we should talk about Rem on Identity Friday. Rem. Anyway, Friday itakuwa mbaya. Either way, this is the last show on health and wellness sport for this month. So we'll have to take a break from next week for 2 weeks because we'll be in Nairobi for the physical consultations. So yeah, we'll see you next month. Inshallah, if God gives us the grace. All right, if God gives us the grace. So, alcoholic ketoacidosis. How do we end up having problems in terms of actually imbalancing the acid-base balance in our blood due to alcoholism? But we cannot start this conversation. Allow me to shout out to 𝗔𝗟𝗖𝗢𝗛𝗢𝗔𝗓𝗔, James Odhiambo, La Madre, from USA, and also Stanley Monyoki. Thank you so much, guys, for coming through. I appreciate you. Now, listen. So, what is alkalosis? We cannot even talk about alcoholic ketoacidosis or nutritional ketoacidosis without knowing what alkalosis is and acidosis is. When you hear the word alkalosis, that basically means your system, basically your blood, the pH is high. Now, this is the chemistry here. So we have a pH scale starting from 0 all the way to 14. So the higher you go, the more basic it becomes. The lower you go, the more acidic it becomes. So from 7 is the neutral. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that is basicity or alkalinity or alkalosis. From 7 back to 1, that is acidity, acidosis, okay? That is what is happening. So, your pH in blood is supposed to be near neutral. Of course, 7.8, that's a pH that is actually neutral because your cells operate at maximum or at optimum under a neutral pH. You see that? So we need a neutral pH to actually have optimally functioning organs, cells, tissues, and all that. However, sometimes we end up having an imbalance where we have the pH going down. And if the pH is going down, we are going into acidosis. All right? The lower the pH, the more acidic the environment. We only allow acidosis or acidic pH in the stomach where we want it to be from 1 to 3, strongly acidic, so that you can actually digest every single thing that you're bringing in, including swallowing a spoon. Right? It's this function. And it's also the barrier for immunity. We talked about this last time. But in blood, we want a neutral pH, 7.8 or 7.4 to 7.8, thereabout. Now, when you're going into acidic media, you're going to cause your cells problems because they're going to die. They're going to be destroyed. So you must make sure that it's always there. So the body, God designed this body so perfect that it has to balance that. And we'll talk about the organs that are responsible in terms of balancing this pH. So let me tell you the organs. So anyway, I'll get to that. So we have acidosis, we have to bring it back to neutral. And then when the pH goes into alkalosis, we have to bring it back to neutral. When I'm talking about this, I will constantly remind you, when somebody is busy selling you the idea that you need alkalinity, the alkaline diets, they're lying to you because you will never get into the alkaline pH in blood if you have the acid-base balance function of these organs that I'm going to mention. So whether you eat acidic foods, you can never get into acidic state. Whether you eat alkaline foods, you never get into alkaline state. So stop being lied to. It is broad daylight lie. Ignore that lie, okay? All right. So now we have multiple organs that regulate pH in the system, basically in the system, not only in the blood, but in the entire body. Number one, of course, is the gut. Now you see on the gut wall, the gut basically means from the mouth all the way to the anus. So let's talk about the stomach. In the stomach, we are constantly producing HCl, the hydrochloric acid, which is basically hydrogen ion. When you see hydrogen ion, H+, that basically means acids, the acid. When you see bicarbonate, HCO3 negative, that means basicity or alkalinity, all right? So the stomach is constantly producing hydrogen ions and pumping these hydrogen ions into the stomach so that you have an acidic pH in the stomach, strongly acidic, all right? So it pumps hydrogen ions in. Now you see, as you're pumping hydrogen ions from the system into the gut, you are actually reducing the hydrogen ions in the system, causing alkalinity, right? So basically your body can actually go into alkalinity naturally. Simply send hydrogen ions into the stomach, you limit the amount of acidity in the blood, and now inside the stomach it is highly acidic. However, as you're doing that, the body senses that because there's a sensor that, you know what, this body is going into alkalosis or alkalinity. So what do? Bring back the pH. Now the second organ that is called the kidneys will reabsorb bicarbonate ions. Even in that stomach, we have a pancreas that produces bicarbonate ions. So the kidneys will produce bicarbonate ions to actually balance the ratio and you go back to normal. That tells you there is no way you'll get into acidosis or alkalosis when you have functional kidneys because the kidneys are the ones that regulate acid-base balance. Remember a wet bed? The functions of the kidneys, we said a wet bed. The first A is what? Acid-base balance. So now you're becoming a doctor pole and you're becoming a scientist. It's time for you to ask those people who are telling you can go into acidosis, alkalosis, acidosis for no good reason when you have functional kidneys. What is the role of the kidneys? To balance the acid and base so that your body operates at optimum pH, which is 7.8. Not acidosis, not alkalosis. Tumeshika hiyo? Let's keep going. Organ number 3, the lungs. So now, when you are, before I even go to the lungs, the kidneys still. So when you have alkalosis, which means in your blood, you have high bicarbonates. So what does the kidney do? Reabsorb hydrogen ions so that you balance the pH. You go back to 7.8. When you have high hydrogen ions, the kidneys will simply reabsorb what? Bicarbonates. You balance the pH. The body goes back to neutral pH. Amazing. Don't you think so? That's amazing. So the kidney does that. You don't need anything to, you need to just work with the kidneys. Make sure they are optimally working so that they do the rest for you. But what do we do so much times? We take so much sugars that destroy our kidneys and then we blame the same kidneys. All of us are taking so much sugars and sugar kills the kidneys. We call it Nephropathy, diabetic nephropathy. Sugar destroys the kidneys, destroys the cells of the kidneys that are called the nephrons. When you destroy those cells, now you are unable to regulate acid-base balance. So what happens? You get whipped. You either go into alkalosis or acidosis because you cannot balance the pH. The body is struggling. But either way, again, God was very lenient. Now that your kidneys are actually compromised, there is a second organ that is responsible for what? For acid-base balance. And this will even play a bigger part in people who are diabetic, because diabetic people are the ones that experience a lot of acidosis, all right, because of what they experience. They have high glucose that cannot be sent into the cells. The body starts thinking that they're actually starving. So what does the body do? Turns to the fat to break down the fat to produce ketone bodies. So now we have glucose and ketones, both of which they cannot be utilized. Ketones are acidic in nature. Therefore, this makes the blood acidic. You see that? But when you have acidic pH, the kidneys can do that for you. But because you are diabetic already, that tells you the kidneys are struggling. So you are unable to excrete what? The ketones. Now they start building up and they give you a lower pH. Acidosis comes in. Now it's a medical emergency. DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. That's a very different one. But look at it this way. Second organ that actually plays a bigger role here is the lungs. So in diabetes, there is something called 𝗔𝗟𝗖𝗢𝗛𝗢𝗔𝗓 respiration. 𝗔𝗟𝗓 respiration. What does that mean? It's just a bigger word to tell you. These people breathe very fast and shallowly. So they are constantly breathing in shallowly but very fast. So that is 𝗔𝗟𝗓 respiration. Why? Because when the kidneys are struggling, the lungs are taking over. They want now to actually clear the acidosis. So look at it this way. When you breathe in and out, when you're breathing in and out so fast, you're not able to excrete excess of the carbon dioxide. So listen to this. Carbon dioxide is very important to you. Don't always think that because you're exhaling it out, it's a dangerous one. It's very important to you because one, it helps you send oxygen into the tissues and the cells. Very important. But number two, it is actually the one that actually balances the acid and base also in when the kidneys are failing. Look at it this way. When you combine carbon dioxide with water, you will form something called carbonic acid. Chemistry imeanza. So, CO2 plus H2O, you get carbonic acid. A very weak acid. But it has the potential to what? To lower the pH of blood. Now, so when you're exhaling faster, you're basically getting rid of the CO2. When you're getting rid of the CO2, you're lowering the carbonic acid in blood. When you're lowering carbonic acid, you're actually lowering acidosis. Did you see that? So the weak carbonic acid is the one that dissociates so fast. Dissociation means it breaks down so fast to release hydrogen ions. So when you have high CO2 in the system, that tells you you're actually struggling. Why? You're actually bringing in so much CO2, and this CO2 is interacting with water in blood, and when that happens, you make weak carbonic acid. This carbonic acid brings you into acidosis state. So the reason why you breathe so fast is to clear the acid, because you clear more CO2 and you go back to normal. That is organ number 2 that controls acid-base balance. So imagine somebody telling you can actually get into acidosis when you have these two organs functioning properly. The only thing he doesn't tell you, and he thinks you don't even know, he thinks he can take advantage of you, is that your kidneys are struggling because you're eating sugars. Now look at it this way. The advocates of the alkaline diet, what do they tell you to eat? Vegetables and what? And fruits. What are fruits? Sugars. What sugars do to the kidneys? Destroy the kidneys. So what are they advocating for? Please come back to hospital for dialysis. You see that? Kula nyama. That is organ number 2. So kidneys are there, the lungs are there. Number 3, it's not an organ, it's a system. So in your blood, we have things that are called the buffer systems. We have the phosphate buffers, and these are the ones that play an immediate role. An immediate role. Let's say you're going into acidosis. These are the first line. Quick fast. They reset the system. Before even the kidneys react, before the lungs react, the buffer system, which is the bicarbonates. Bicarbonate buffer is in your blood. We have hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is your red blood cells, basically the component that carries oxygen. This component has the ability to bind hydrogen ions and CO2, which means reduces acidosis, reduces also the CO2, which means either way you'll reduce acidosis. You see that? Buffers. We have the phosphate buffers. We have now the hemoglobin. We have the bicarbonates in the blood. And then the most important one is the albumin. Here we have to go deeper. Albumin is a protein, right? This is a protein that carries things through blood, carries drugs, carries all these things in blood. It's a transport protein. Where is it made from? Most proteins are made in the liver. So therefore, if you have a messed up liver, you will end up getting what? Acidosis. Hello? Albumin is very good at binding hydrogen ions and other toxins and all these drugs and in the system and transports them to where they're supposed to go for excretion or for preservation or a reservoir. So when you have low protein that binds these toxins, that binds the hydrogen ions, you go into what? Acidosis. So that tells you there's another third organ, okay, that is involved. So the kidneys, the lungs, and now that was part of the buffers. Now number 3 is the liver, which tells you alcohol is very dangerous in acidosis because you're already starting to see, because I want you to actually reflect. As we talk about this, your mind should be always the chain is alcoholic ketoacidosis. Don't lose that track, all right? So we must maintain that track. And now you see, you're affecting the liver. Now you're unable to produce enough albumin to bind the hydrogen ions. Now you get into acidosis. Number 2, you're actually bringing in a lot of fat in the liver because there's alcoholic fatty liver disease. You have liver inflammation. So all these problems of the liver are coming in. And I've always told you here, please, if you want to protect yourself, protect the liver, protect the kidneys, those two. The moment one fails, the other one follows. But if you protect the liver, it will protect you in return. You see that? Amazing. So the liver forms proteins like albumin to bind the hydrogen ions and then produces other plasma proteins, which are basically the buffers, in the blood buffers, right? So the liver is also important in acid-base balance. So imagine all these organ systems, from the gut to the liver, to the lungs, to the buffer system in blood, and then to the kidneys. How can you end up getting acidosis? How? You know, let me be a layman now. You explain it to me. As somebody who has been eating these plant-based, the plant-based diets, the alkaline diets, and you're telling us the acidic places where the cancers survive and all that, I understand that. That makes sense because sugar is actually fermented to acidity. And that's actually a very good environment for cancer development. You see that? But that is a very later stage. So don't tell us about the cancers. You tell us about how we end up getting the alkaline media that will help us recover from cancer, that will help us detoxify ourselves, that will help us clear parasites. They use this word parasites all the time. Oh, there's a lot of parasites in your body, and therefore you have to be in an alkaline state and all that. Please, time to ask them questions, because once you start these conversations, they start saying, no way, science is a scam. Possibly you're right, but I mean, tell us your non-scientific stuff. You see that? So dangers of alcohol. One of the dangers of alcohol is acidosis. Ketoacidosis. Why ketoacidosis? Because most people who drink alcohol, have you seen them? Most alcoholics are very thin, but with fatty livers. So they are thin from outside, but very fat from inside. However, alcohol suppresses both the breathing centers and the appetite centers in the brain. So therefore, alcoholics will never have good nutrition. No wonder they end up getting these vitamin deficiencies, B6, B12, and B1. Specifically B1, which makes them get the mental health issues. Mental disorders. Why? Because of lack of vitamin B1. So these guys, one, alcohol is coming in to mess up the gut. So when alcohol is messing up the gut, you see, alcohol causes inflammation to the gut. Now, whether you're taking alcohol in moderation or whatever it is, why are you taking it in moderation? Why don't you just drop it? If you can moderate it, means you can actually drop it. Why don't you just drop it? So you're taking alcohol for digestion. And we'll talk about the stages of from zero to alcoholism to addictions. You will see where you lie with your digestion and wine, your glass of wine. Yeah? Wine is good for digestion. You defend it with the Bible and the scriptures. I'm like, okay. So listen. One, apart from just alcohol impairing judgment and making you lose memory because of deficiency of vitamins and shrinking the brain, because that's what it does to you, it shrinks your brain. Apart from that, alcohol destroys your gut wall. Chronic gastritis, you will see. You will drink this evening and the following day you're lining the pharmacy to buy esomeprazole and omeprazole. You'll even say, nimetumia hii omeprazole sana, it's not working. I think I need esomeprazole. Maybe give me pantoprazole, 40 mg. Give me the other one. Give me an injection now. Because of this gastritis and the reflux. All the time you're belching and then the reflux comes in as an effect of alcoholism. They are always there with the pot bellies and taking omeprazole every single day. There are people who take alcohol so that they can actually have an erection. Mimi nikipiga Guinness mbili, mama anaheshimu. 2 Guinness. Umejaribu ujipawa imekataa, sasa ni 2 Guinness. Mama anajuanga. Mimi kwanza even your woman knows when you come home after taking 2 Guinness, she knows, papa. So she'd prefer to give you something to go and buy 2 Guinness because she knows you without the Guinness you can only have your 1 minute of fame. And before that, the police are coming. Oh shit, police, oh shit. We are so you destroy your gut wall. When you cause that chronic inflammation and then ulcers, what is going to happen to you? One, you're not going to absorb enough nutrition. Basically, you're going into malnutrition. So therefore, B vitamins, the vitamin even A, D, E, and K, all these vitamins that are supposed to come from the diets, all these essential nutrients that are coming from the diets, you will not be able to absorb them. Alcohol also neutralizes the stomach acid, causing you more problems. So therefore, you cannot digest protein. I really wonder how you guys, you take a whole kg of meat and then you say, unajua naangusha pombe juu. I ate meat, now it cannot hurt my gut. I will put alcohol on top of that meat. I'm like, okay. I was there anyway. Choma na, then you belch yourself the whole 48 hours. So others are fasting for 48 hours. You are belching for... You know how irritating it is for somebody to belch like... It's the same feeling when somebody is busy popping the chewing gum. Somebody is cracking that chewing gum. The noise that comes... you guys. I'm like, buana. Can we grow up? Popping the chewing gum and then... I'm like, Tawe. So anyway, we've impaired absorption. First of all, we impaired digestion, and then we impaired absorption. Now we are getting into malnutrition. That's why we end up losing so much weight. But we have a fatty liver because it's alcoholic fatty liver, because we are bringing in the alcohol that is metabolized by the liver to fats. Now these fats start accumulating around the liver, causing you a fatty liver disease. All right? Causing a fatty liver disease. Now you understand. So you can actually be very thin, but with a very fatty liver. Right? Yeah. So most of them are very thin, but with a fatty liver. But there are others who have these big pot bellies because they eat a lot of ugali plus nyama choma, and then they go ahead and drink alcohol. So they are fat from inside and also fat from outside. Those ones are crazy. And then somebody lied to them that when you have a good kapot belly, you're now the chairman. You know what? When you get that drinking den, everybody's like, Igwe. They give you all these good names. And when you hear that, you chop your money. I mean, the government just paid me the other day. I stole money from KEMSA. I have to buy you guys, have to spoil you guys, so that when I'm caught, you will defend me. So you've actually messed up the gut. Number 2, I tend to think, actually, I'm a strong believer that most people who are actually alcoholics, it is victimhood. It is victimhood. So that people start saying, if it was not for alcohol, this daktari, this guy was wise. I don't know why most wise people with a lot of brains, they are always alcoholics. There are people who actually tell me, you, because you don't drink alcohol, you don't smoke cigarette, you must be somebody who is a womanizer. You've heard of those nonsense. Like, you know what, madaktari wengi, kama si pombe, ama sigara, ni wanawake. If you're not an alcoholic or a cigarette smoker, you must be women. You and women. I'm like, okay. So that's the mindset out here. So you guys know about these things. So every doctor, you must be a smoker or a drunkard or women. Father Abraham, you ejaculate aimlessly. Number 3, a fatty liver disease. So most people who drink alcohol are playing victims. Mnataka tuseme huyu jamaa alikuwa mbaya. This guy used to draw, he can draw. Hey man, this guy used to sing. Was it not for alcohol, this guy would be an international artist. This guy, apart from, if not alcohol, he would be the biggest footballer. Others tell me, you know what, I drink because I want to fight stress. And I have my children got into an accident, my mother got, I don't know what. Now I'm drinking to actually fight stress. So you have money to actually to drink and then fight stress, right? Hey, huyu jamaa kama si pombe. This guy was deadly, man. This guy would lazima akunywe ndo afanye surgery. So anyway, you endelea kunywa. Fatty liver is coming in. Liver cirrhosis is coming in. So inflammation of the liver, hepatitis, then liver cirrhosis, and then now your liver is gone. Just like that. Start getting the jaundice, swelling the legs, the face is swollen. People are telling you, bana, umenona, no. You know, fatty liver. Oh, uko na kakitambi, fatty liver. Bone marrow suppression is coming in, weak bones, because again the liver activates vitamin D. So the liver and the kidneys activate vitamin D. From cholesterol to get inactive vitamin D that is activated in the liver and finally in the kidneys. So now low immunity because of low vitamin D. Again, that the manhood relies on vitamin D. Now the manhood is going down. So who told you 2 bottles of Guinness will actually give you an erection? You're actually messing it up, because now that's even barley. Barley comes in with estrogen, phytoestrogens. Now you're becoming more of a woman. How will you now find those firm erections and extended erections when you have high estrogen? Tell me. That is just psychological. You drink today, you get that small erection, you perform. Tomorrow another excitement, then it goes fading. Just the same way 𝗔𝗟𝗖𝗢𝗛𝗢𝗔 has done that to you. So everybody's complaining, oh, 𝗔𝗟𝗖𝗢𝗢𝗔𝗟. Today you drink 𝗔𝗟𝗢𝗢, hey, you're a star at home. The following day, 𝗔𝗟𝗢𝗢𝗢, you're like, where did they disappear to? And then Mama 𝗔𝗟𝗢𝗢𝗢 knows, if I'm going to lose a customer, put some Viagra in that 𝗔𝗟𝗢𝗢𝗢. And doesn't tell you, and now you're on medication for hypertension. Hey. Pregnant women nowadays are even in clubs drinking alcohol. Do you know something called fetal alcoholic syndrome? You wonder why we have all these issues in terms of autism, in terms of children having very, very poor capacity to actually concentrate on one thing, very, very retarded in terms of, they drool saliva from morning to evening. You go to work, you leave your child in the same spot, come back, he's still there, just digging things in the wall and just drooling saliva. But you were in a club. You even hosted a party and saying, you know what, gender reveal, we have to drink alcohol to this. Pregnant women are what are you doing in a club? At all, you know, pregnancy does not stop me from having my fun. Which fun is in a club? You must be very empty to be in a club drinking alcohol when you're pregnant. If your fun comes from going to clubs, at least respect the baby. Brain damage is coming in, stunted growth. This child cannot grow very well because of the growth hormone has been affected. Because when you drink alcohol, it actually crosses the placenta. And when I say alcohol, I mean alcohol in all forms, whether wine, spirits, whatever it is, vodka, whiskey, that wine that you're saying, oh no, red wine makes me relax during pregnancy. My doctor said I should drink just a glass of wine is not bad. You're going to destroy that child. You will destroy that, you will even kill that child. And then of course now addictions comes in, where you can't function without alcohol. Tremors are there. A simple withdrawal, you're actually becoming so angry, you're so chaotic. You think now people owe you something. So if you don't have money to drink, you think people need to give you money to drink. You don't even go to work now. Now you've decided, me, I'm not going to work. Apana. Me, I'll be here drinking, and there's nothing you can do, you guys. And the government is very lenient. Takes you to the rehab and still pays you. Yeah? Hey. PNP, your government. So DKA, let me explain to you what DKA is. DKA, not DKA, ketoacidosis, KA. So ketoacidosis, that's why we have the DKA, we have the nutritional ketoacidosis, and then we have the alcoholic, okay? But I think local brew is good, but local brew is still ethanol. We are going to talk about ethanol here. We break down ethanol, it doesn't matter. Your stomach does not know busa. Your stomach knows ethanol. It metabolizes it down as ethanol. Your liver does not know busa, does not know local brew. It doesn't. Right? So don't lie to yourself. Oh, you know, these guys who are bringing in liquor from outside, they are demonizing our own brew here so that they can bring in theirs. It is true, yes. It is true. But that is on the economy level. But on your level, in terms of health, when economy comes in, nobody cares about your health, my friend. It is just your health is your personal journey. Utakuwa unaambia tu watu economy inafanya mbaya na wewe mwenyewe hapo fatty liver inakumaliza. Economy inafanya mbaya aje? Ni liver yako inafanya mbaya. Ni liver, si economy. So, ketoacidosis, realize this. when you're constantly eating carbohydrates, the sugars, what your body knows better for energy is glucose. Now understand that your body does not like to spend energy. It doesn't. Your body does not like to spend energy to get energy. That's why carbohydrates are very addictive, because the body wants them. Because they are quick fix. They'll give it instant energy so fast. All right? So the body wants that one. So now, when you bring in the element of trying to actually spend more energy to burn the fat that you've actually stored. Remember, the same body was storing that glucose in form of fat so that you use it later. When you're fasting, when there's a drought, floods. But the same body does not want to go to the stores to withdraw, because it knows you will bring with a lot of ease. The only thing it needs to do is to turn on the cravings switch. Please, cravings. Please, cravings. Please, cravings. And that switch is coming in from the pancreas. Just release a little bit of insulin. Give him more insulin. Give me more insulin. Insulin sends you to cravings, because it takes you into hypo, you want to eat. Cravings, carbohydrates, carbohydrates, carbohydrates. That's the danger. So because slowly by slowly you're getting into resistance to that insulin, okay? So when you stop eating the carbohydrates, or you limit the carbohydrates, you go on a very low carbohydrate diet, what happens is your body turns to alternative sources of energy where it stored the fat to break down that fat, and the liver is the one that does that. So we simply break down the fat to give you what? Ketone bodies. So we break down the fat to fatty acids. These fatty acids are carried to the liver. The liver converts these fatty acids to ketone bodies. These ketone bodies are acidic in nature. So they have the ability to actually lower the blood pH. All right? But you see, when you're low on glucose, your kidneys are not struggling. Your kidneys are functioning perfectly. Your lungs are functioning perfectly. The liver is functioning perfectly. So that tells you the acidosis will not be a problem to you, because it will be rectified by these organs that we mentioned that control basicity and acidity in the system. You see that? So you never have to worry about ketones. Oh, I have a lot of ketones in urine. They are supposed to be that way, because if you're not taking in so much carbohydrates, you're either on a keto diet or you are basically somebody who is fasting. We expect a lot of ketones in urine. The plus has to even be 4. Why? Because you're burning the ketones coming in, and then they are being filtered through the kidneys and going out through urine. That's natural. So when you go to the lab, when you're doing a 72-hour fast or a 48-hour fast, and then your lab tech does these tests, the urinalysis, and sees urine is positive for ketones, and then sends you to a doctor, tells you, hey, you're going into ketoacidosis, you need to go to inject insulin. Please tell them, please, young man, I'm not a lab rat. I know you're a lab guy, but I'm not a lab rat. Okay? So don't use me as a lab rat. It's only logical that you as a doctor should understand when somebody is fasting, there should be ketone in urine. So the first question you have actually asked me, am I on keto diets? I tell you no. Am I fasting? I tell you yes. And then now the answer is there. But why are you so quick to rush me to insulin therapy? All right. Why are you so quick to rush me to insulin therapy? Good. Let's balance that. Amazing. We are back. All right. So keto diets or ketogenic diets, when you start eating them, of course, there's limited carbohydrates, so there's limited glucose coming in as energy. So what happens is the body simply turns to the stores. Remember, the reason why you eat carbohydrates is because you want to use them for energy. So you must burn them out immediately. So that tells you, if you don't burn them out, but you're eating, because we eat more than we burn. So the more you eat, the more you store in the fat cells, because now glucose is being stored as fat in the fat cells. But the body is very sharp. The body knows I'm storing this one here for future use. So when we'll go on low carb diet, or you'll be fasting, or there'll be a flood, you cannot access food, or a drought, there's no food, the body simply stands to the stores and burns what is in the stores, and then gives you this energy for you to utilize. That's what your doctor does not tell you. Your doctor is quick to tell you ketoacidosis. Oh, diabetic ketoacidosis. And then now you run into panic. But he's not quick to tell you, you've been consuming so much carbohydrates that have been stored as fat. So anytime you go on a low carb diet or ketogenic diet, your body will simply turn to the fat to burn it to give you what? To give you ketone bodies, which are alternative energy sources to glucose. That is now what? Ketosis or ketogenesis. We had a doctor on that interview who was saying that when you're now burning fat to get glucose, or to get ketone bodies, that is the abnormal state. But I'm asking this doctor, but now, okay, that's abnormal, to burn fat that you stored, to use it later. How is that even abnormal? So imagine this, you take food and put in a refrigerator. That's normal. But when you go to withdraw it from the refrigerator, that's abnormal. I mean, Sometimes common sense is better than intellect, right? It's just common sense. Like, why is it bad for me to withdraw food in the refrigerator? Fast come, fast out. So I need to actually withdraw food from the refrigerator so that I can actually buy new food and put it in there. So then how is it abnormal that the body has said, oh, you know what, I don't have so much glucose coming in as energy. Please let me turn to the stores where I stored glucose in form of fat, burn it to give him energy, alternative source of energy. The beauty about burning fat to get energy, one, you get ketone bodies. They're the best energy sources for the brain, for the nerves, for the cells. Then they boost the immune system. And they're also anti-inflammatory. So they are so good energy sources for your system. That's how your nerve problem starts to disappear. That's your memory comes back. That's how diabetes disappears, because you're emptying the stores. You see that? So don't buy the lie that ketoacidosis is actually ketosis. They are not the same. So when you're burning fats to get ketones as a result of low glucose, as an alternative source of energy to low glucose, that is ketosis or ketogenesis. So genesis is generation of ketones from burning fat. That is the function of the liver. Now again, look at it this way. How can your liver do something that will kill you? How can your liver do something abnormal? Now you can easily see how you question these doctors, right? Because your liver makes cholesterol, your liver burns fat to give you ketone body. So how can your liver do something that is actually abnormal? It is you who does things that are abnormal to the liver, feeding it with so much carbohydrates and bringing in so much sugars. Okay? So that is ketosis or ketogenesis. Now you see, it is very rare that somebody can actually go into acidosis or ketoacidosis just because they fasted or because they are on ketogenic diets. Why? Because ketogenic diets and fasting is both free therapy. It's actually therapy to you. Heals the kidneys, heals the lungs, heals inflammation in the system, heals the liver. Therefore, you cannot go into acidosis or alkalosis. You see that? So that's a beautiful thing. However, diabetic ketoacidosis, that's a different situation. That's an emergency. You have diabetes, which means you have high sugars in blood and in the system, which you are unable to utilize as energy. And then the body thinks you're actually starving. Yet you have high glucose in the blood. It can't be sent into the cells. You cannot utilize it. So then the body thinks you're starving, then turns to the fats to burn fat to give you ketones. Now you have two energy sources at peak, both the glucose and the ketone bodies, both of which you cannot utilize. Now ketones are coming in, they are acidic in nature, so they are going to make your blood become acidic. Glucose is still there, destroying your kidneys, destroying your liver. So therefore, two energy sources that are crazy, and you cannot utilize the two. So then what happens? What happened to Facebook? Oh, okay. Let's go back to... People on Facebook are wondering, I just disappeared once. Let's go back and reset it for them. Ah, good, we are back on Facebook. Amazing. So you have two energy sources, the ketones and the glucose, both of which you cannot utilize, and now the body starts to struggle. You cannot even excrete excess or enough of those ketones through the kidneys because they are struggling. The liver cannot help you detoxify the ketones because the liver is struggling. So diabetes destroys your liver, destroys your kidneys, destroys the entire system in terms of inflammation. Now you're actually struggling to balance acid and bases. That's how you end up getting what? DKA. And most people who actually get into ICUs for DKA, they're not getting there because of burning fats to get ketones. No, they're getting there because of diabetes. That's why it's DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. All right? Yeah. So burning fat is very important for you. It's very important. Now, alcohol on the other side. Because alcohol now is the crazy one here. So on the dietary, we have glucose that is very low. We have insulin going down because anytime glucose goes down, insulin goes down. By the way, the lower the requirement of insulin, the better your health. Hello? The lower the requirements of insulin, the better your health. Why? Because the only reason why you need insulin is to pump glucose from blood into the cells. So if you're not bringing in glucose, basically carbohydrates, you don't need so much insulin. You just need a very small percentage of insulin to help you pump either the excess protein that have been converted to glucose into the cells, utilize them, and that is it. because protein can actually be converted to glucose. So don't allow them to tell you, oh, carbohydrates are the only energy-giving foods. No, fats are actually high in energy because you can break down fats to get ketone bodies and glucose. You can break down proteins to get amino acids that can be broken down to glucose. Okay? We call it, what do we call it? What is the name? Yeah, you guys, what is the name for burning fat to get glucose? Or burning protein, metabolizing protein to get glucose? What is the name I told you? There's a name that is given to alternative sources of glucose that are not carbohydrates. Ah, Joy. Are very, very clever students here. Not even, you guys are crazy. No, somebody saying ketosis. Ketosis is burning fat to get ketones. So you see the word ketones. That is ketosis. But when you're burning fat to get glucose, there must be a name called gluco. So glucose must be there. So gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis means glucose being generated. Because you see, gluconeo, new sources, genesis, generate. You're generating glucose from new sources that are not carbohydrates. That is fat, and that is what? Proteins, the amino acids. Amazing. Ramadan Inganga. You guys need to be doctors. You guys, I give you your flowers. I mean, so you can imagine if you knew this information earlier. Would they have taken advantage of you? Would you still be on drugs for cholesterol? No. You'll tell the doctor, no way. And those doctors will run from those consultation rooms. Too much. You again. You're like, no, doc, I just booked to actually ask you one question. I don't want your questions. Please, refund with immediate effect. Yeah? Refund with immediate effect. So now it's time for us to actually know that medical syllabus, you can even take that book and read it and you will understand. You will understand. But the problem is you are so reluctant because you are waiting for you to get a disease so that you start reading about that disease. That's why people who have cancer, they have so much information about cancer, which is even confusing them. People who have diabetes, they have read so much about diabetes, but they are reading the same things. They don't know where to just fill in the gaps because somebody put it out there. And that somebody is called who? Do you know the who? Who is that? Who? Mnajua who ni nani? Yeah? So, the only way you can actually get ketoacidosis through maybe and it's not even diet, it's starvation. So let me tell you something about starvation, how these people get into problems. You see, when you're starving, there's no glucose coming in totally, right? So your body glucose goes so low, your insulin goes so low. Now you start burning fat. Because when insulin and glucose are low, glucose and insulin go down, you start burning fat. You get ketones. You get ketones. You get ketones. But the problem in starvation is they start to produce counter-regulatory hormones. Cortisol, which is the stress hormone, because they are highly stressed up. They are highly putting their bodies on high stress. That's why I tell you never to do the dry fasts. If you're doing a dry fast, 8 to 12 hours enough. Go back to rehydrating with salt and water. So there is cortisol. There is glucagon. And glucagon is the one that actually brings in the element of burning fat. There is adrenaline, heart rate coming up. They have very high heart rates. And then you have the growth hormone. So these hormones, the counter-regulatory hormones, what do? Their role is to instruct the liver to burn fat to give you ketones. Because you're not bringing in any glucose. So you burn fat to give you ketone bodies. The ketones again. So yes, when you're starving, you go into ketosis. But it's the extreme levels of ketosis. Additionally, when you're starving, you're not taking in water. So what is happening to your kidneys? Dehydration. So your kidneys are getting dehydrated. When they're getting dehydrated, now they can't function naturally. Also, as you're not hydrating adequately, you are lowering fluid volume, the blood volume. So what is happening? You are going to go into a shock. Or you are also going to limit the amount or the function of the kidneys because the kidneys rely on the volume of blood that comes in for filtration. That's why the filtration rate of the kidney is what is actually used to analyze the functions of the kidney or the kidney disease, the stages of kidney disease. If you're filtering above 90, you're safe. Above 60, stage 1. Even though waki classify kidney problems. So the kidneys rely on the volume of blood that is coming in to create that pressure difference so that filtration happens and now you make the urine. All right? So when you have reduced volume of blood coming into the kidneys, just the same way when you're running and breathing through your mouth, your nose starts to clog. they start to, by the time you go to breathe through the nose, it's already clogging because you didn't use it for its function. That's the same thing that happens to the kidneys. You've now reduced the volume of blood coming into the kidneys for filtration, and therefore the kidneys are now struggling. Now they start shutting down pole. Now when the kidneys are shutting down, who will excrete the ketone bodies that are coming in because you're burning fat? Now you'll end up having this very shallow breathing, so that the lungs are actually struggling to balance the issues with the kidneys. You're breathing shallowly, cosmal respiration, breathing shallowly, but nothing is happening. You see that? So that's how they end up having this problem. Again, when you have low blood volume because of dehydration, the amount of blood that is going to tissues to actually help in breakdown of things, of energy, glucose and all that, but the most important one being the lactic acid in the muscles, is not there, because we need to actually send glucose and oxygen there to actually aid in metabolism. So glucose in the muscles is being broken down to pyruvate, and then pyruvate to lactic acid. That lactic acid needs to be carried back to the liver for clearance. But you see, now we have reduced blood towards the muscle. So therefore the carrier of that lactic acid into the liver is now minimal. Also, reduced oxygen towards the muscle because of hypoventilation or hypoperfusion of the muscles, you start producing lactic acid. Now we have two problems here. We have ketones, which are acidic, and then we have lactic acid. So we have ketoacidosis, and then we have lactic acidosis. Do you see how the problem comes in? Double tragedy. Nawasaidia kutumia common sense kidogo. A little bit of common sense, you see? Hey, we are not sending blood there. So what will bring this lactic acid from the muscles back to the liver? Compromisation, right? And then this blood is supposed to carry glucose to the muscles and oxygen to the muscles. But in the muscles, we're having so much activity because muscles are being broken down, the glycogen is being depleted, so there's so much going on in the muscles. But because there's dehydration, we are building up lactic acid in the muscles that is coming into the blood, causing you low pH acidosis. As we're also burning the fat, we are bringing in what? Ketone bodies. That is what? Acidosis. So now we have ketoacidosis and lactic acidosis. Two tragedies that will take you out so fast. Hapo tumeelewana? Tuko pamoja? Na kama bado tuko pamoja, let me tell you the symptoms of that acidosis. So from the symptoms, you can easily know where the problem is. Like, look at it this way. Why do you think these people have nausea and vomiting? They vomit all the time when they have acidosis. Or why do you think some of them experience severe diarrhea when they have these problems? By the way, have you ever realized when you're fasting and then you break that fast so fast, you'll get a diarrhea? It's not painful, but you just, there's just like a river that comes out. You sit on that toilet and you're like, how many have experienced that? When you're breaking a fast and you're in a hurry to break the fast, that's diarrhea that comes in. Let's say you're the first time you're fasting, or you've taken a break and then you come back fasting. You do a 48-hour fast and then you break the fast the wrong way. Ooh! Rumblings of the stomach, and then sometimes you might think you're going to pass gas, and before you notice it, it's like a diarrhea that comes in there. You people know that, right? If you fasted. Those who have never fasted, they can't understand it. This is for the ones who fast. So you end up experiencing either diarrhea or vomiting. Why? Because when you're vomiting, you're throwing out hydrogen ions. The body is basically trying to reduce the hydrogen ions so that you go back into normalcy. So we reduce the hydrogen ions. That's what vomiting does. That's how these people who are in the acidosis stage, they end up having that feeling of nausea. So the body responds instantly. Number two, the shallow breathing, and so fast, they breathe so fast but very shallowly. Why? We said it's called what? Cosmal breathing. Cosmal breathing is basically trying to eliminate carbon dioxide so that you recover from acidosis. Yes, everybody panics. Hey, daktari, I got a diarrhea. Yes, you're supposed to get a diarrhea because you ulijishukuru, you may fast. You decided, let me thank myself for fasting. You ended up eating so much food. And then the gut punishes you, tells you, hey, please, that's not how we break a fast. You must start slow. Give me some bone broth, because the gut reflexes are already sleeping. It's like somebody waking you up by pouring some cold shower on you. How will you react? Huyu mtu si atakujua jina. That's how the gut does. So after 14 hours of fasting, the gut reflexes shut down. Now when you wake them up so fast, they will punish you. So you have to start with some bone broth, and then maybe some eggs, then now you can eat your meal after an hour or so. That's the only way the gut wakes up slowly, and now you can go and have your stool later on. So soft stool, and you just enjoy being in that toilet. Now don't go to the toilet with a book or a phone. You people in the toilet with phones, what are you, what are you doing with a phone there? Another symptom is altered mental state. This guy is crazy. Eh? He's feeling like he's cheesy because of acidosis. And then in their mouth, there's something, a fruity smell. They produce some, most people who are diabetic, they have this smell from their mouth that is very fruity, very nice smelling. That is actually a symptom of ketoacidosis in diabetics, because there's a ketone body that is called acetone. All right, so that ketone body has a very fruity smell, a very good smell. So that's why a doctor tells you, hey, please, can you breathe on your hand and then smell? Does it smell somehow nicely? Yeah. What causes acidosis? We just said, which acidosis are you talking about? If you're talking about ketoacidosis, you're talking about burning fat to get ketones that are acidic. And then you have diabetes, so your kidneys are compromised. You can't excrete excess ketones. And ketones are acidic, so therefore they cause you acidosis. And number two, you said, we have now low blood volume. So you are dehydrated. So you are basically burning so much pyruvate in the muscles, forming lactic acid. You cannot excrete it because the liver is struggling and the blood volume is low. So therefore there's nothing to carry it from the muscles back to the liver. Now you have lactic acidosis. So you have both ketoacidosis and lactic acidosis. All right. So basically what causes acidosis is compromised kidneys and compromised liver. It's not about burning the fat, no. It's not even about the lactic acid in the muscles, no. It's about a compromised kidney and a compromised liver. And what compromises those two organs? The three inflammatory foods plus alcohol. What are the three inflammatory foods? What are the three inflammatory foods? As you answer that question, let me advertise my platforms, and then I will go and tell you something about how also alcohol can cause ketoacidosis, okay? Now, so keep mentioning the three inflammatory foods. I've seen seed oil somewhere. That is number one. And when I say seed oil, I mean vegetable oils. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I have two platforms on YouTube. One is Health and Wellness Sport that I'm live on right now. Health and Wellness Sport. That is a platform you don't want to miss if you want any health information. Specifically on the live section where we do these long lives. You can go there and take a pen and a paper and just sit down and write notes. You'll be a smart person. All right? Because I think I'm gifted with this gift of breaking down health conditions in a language that is so easy to understand. All right? Yeah, I think that's a gift that I was given. And that gift was given because I have to ease pain and suffering from God's people. So shout out to the Most High. So that is Health and Wellness Sport. Strictly issues to do with health. Number two, I have another platform on YouTube called Uncle 𝗔𝗟𝗖𝗢𝗛𝗢𝗔. Uncle 𝗔𝗟𝗓 is a platform that we roll lives on Friday at 8:30 p.m. to late night. Uncle 𝗔𝗟𝗓 is a platform that will help you overcome anger, depression, anxiety, the feeling of fears, doubt, overthinking, and all those things. So we help you actually fix your identity. And we've actually come to realize that identity is actually number one before you even think about all these other things. Before you think about consistency of fasting, you must fix an identity. So that show that happens on Friday, you can't miss out on that show. It is a super show on Fridays. So if you're on TikTok and you've never visited my platform on YouTube, simply go there and subscribe on those two platforms. One is Health and Wellness Sport. I'll appreciate that because that's a support to us. We are at 38,000 people. Make it interesting tonight. Actually, take a minute to just go on YouTube right now and subscribe on Health and Wellness Sport. I'll appreciate that. And then Uncle 𝗔𝗟𝗓, all right? And then I have a Telegram platform that most of the questions that you people ask here are answered there. I don't have to answer any question on this live because I answered there. And if you sit back on my lives and just listen keenly, I think most of your questions shall be answered. Because I'm so good at just taking notes and knowing what people do. When you ask those questions, I definitely respond. But I can respond in an indirect way, only that your mind is fixated on one question that you think I've not answered it. So some of these questions can be answered there. You go to Telegram channel, it's called Health and Wellness Sport. Just go and search, use the search button in that platform. You will find all your answers there. And as you sit back on this live, we are a lot of us here. But you people are very mean, very limited likes because you don't want other people to actually find out this information. So why can't you just be genuine and just like? You're not going to lose on anything by just liking the live. Why? Because it'll get to more people. That's the reward that we ask from you. Just subscribe and like. It's that easy. I've just subscribed on both the YouTube channel. Amazing. Alan, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. And then we have physical consultations that happen in Nairobi at the end of the month, the last week of the month, and the Badu. Karibu sana. So we have two things. We have physical consultations that happen in Nairobi, the last week of the month and the first week of the month. I always advertise them on these platforms and also on posts on my platforms. So the physical consultations for this month and next month, they will start on 30th of this month, that is next week on Tuesday, and they will go up to the 9th of next month, that is October. So you can book an appointment with us by just sending a text through WhatsApp through the office contact 0707 07 47 22. That's the office contact. Use that contact to book an appointment. Send a WhatsApp message, please. I repeat, send our WhatsApp message to 0707 07 47 22. You will be responded to and guided on how to book an appointment. So that is for the physical consultations. Number two, we have online consultations that happen every evening. When I get out of work, I'm always here trying to actually change people's lives on online consultations. So you can actually make a choice to either use the platform for online consultations or physical consultations, both of which the same number shall be used. But most importantly, I'm excited because on 1st and 2nd of November, we are rolling a camp, first of a kind. There's a camp that is going to happen in Longonot. I mean, I can't wait. Well, we hope that God gives us the grace to live up to that day. And as we do that, we will hold a camp for 2 days, the 1st and the 2nd of November. Day number 1, there will be a hike. Of course, top of Mount Longonot, go around on the crater and come back. As you light the mountain, you get some bone broth, you get some eggs and some black tea or something. You enjoy that, you take your cold shower, and then we have a bonfire. We have all these health talks going on. We are conversing, get to know each other, and answering most questions about health and all that. And I only need 25 people. Right? I don't need so many people for that. Given that it's the first thing and first of a kind, we are going to only have 25 people. So first come, first serve. Once it's done, I'll tell you we will close it, period, until next year. If God gives us the grace. So first day, a hike, come back, drink some stuff and all that, then nyama choma and a bonfire, health talks and all that, and we go to rest. We wake up the following day, go for a nature walk, walk barefoot, and as we do that, we get to sit down and have a fellowship. I call it identity. Just a fellowship to answer questions in relationship to identity. So if you've never been on Uncle Chile platform, you will not understand what I'm talking about. So we'll answer those questions, we'll help you overcome that false identity that you've actually harbored in all the time. And then from there now, as you go back to reconnect with your family and your people, they look at you as a different person, because you know what? From inside, you'll be so complete, they start thinking that you joined a cult. Huku kwa milima kwenye ulienda, wewe lazima ulienda kuona vitu. Wewe, you've gotten into a cult. And we knew, when you disconnected and went to the mountains, we knew there was something fishy. Yeah, this daktari of yours. Yeah, so we'll have these tents all over. People, but I said this issue of tents. Don't think we are going to make tents for... The people with evil minds thinking, you know what, I have been crashing on this one. I'm going to pay for the 2. I will come with this one. And she's going to script my name in the camps in Longonot. She will never forget me. Well. So thank you so much for those guys who are already starting to pay this. I appreciate you, actually. It's amazing that you guys are trusting us with this. It's going to be amazing. Of course, we never disappoint. All right? So thank you so much for coming through. Yeah. Let's continue. So again, one thing about alcohol and ketoacidosis in alcohol. Alcohol is ethanol, okay? So we have methanol and ethanol. I want to focus on ethanol because that is the beer, the spirits, the wines, and all this alcohol that we take during weekends, living for the weekend. So ethanol in the liver, it is broken down to something that is called acetaldehyde. What is happening here? So we break ethanol to acetaldehyde. Don't struggle climbing these names. I just want you to understand what will happen during this breakdown of ethanol to acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde can actually be very toxic. Very toxic. It will actually destroy you so fast. Alright? Some of you go blind because of that acetaldehyde. But the liver also knows that, you know what, this guy has to survive. I mean, I'm giving him the second chance. So what do? We break down that acetaldehyde to the last product that is less harmful, that is called acetate. So that you get it through the breath or through urine. because acetate can easily be broken down to CO2 and water. Right? So first step, ethanol to acetaldehyde, and then acetaldehyde to acetate. Both steps, the two steps that are involved in alcohol metabolism, they involve something that is called NADH. NADH. So the more this process of breaking down alcohol, so the more you drink alcohol, the more you produce NADH. Now this NADH is very important to your body, remember that. But now it's coming in excess because you're taking alcohol in excess. So why is it important? Because one, it is the one that is responsible for activation of the Krebs cycle, the energy cycle in the body. So when you have an optimal amount of NADH, you are at super energy. That's why in the initial phases of drinking, you are so excited, you're elated, you're vibrant, you're dancing and all that. Until you do excess, you start feeling like vomiting, you start getting the that bad feeling of depression, you start sharing your secrets and all that, you start now, una chipo, waiter. Then you wonder, who is this alitoka wapi? Hey, those lights in the club, there's a way they make somebody look different. Specifically ladies who are dressed in white or red, and I think ladies know this so much. So in a club, ladies with mini dresses, red and white, they know. Because when those lights just, when they hit them, these ladies, even the worst of the worst, top notch. But when you're getting to a club as a man, you are able to scan around and know, this place I cannot pick any. This one, there's no one I'm picking here. But start taking 2 Tuskers, 3, 4, take some whiskey and all that. And then you get to a level that you're now starting to do this. You know that feeling? When you do this and you read the name tag of the waiter, you're like, "Hey Joy, hey Angela, I'm not leaving this club without you. How will my life be post-clubbing without you? How?" This is the same joy that you saw when you're coming in. You're like, there's no joy in the person. It's just the name. But now you're thinking, this one has to be my joy after this drinking spree. How can I leave joy behind? How? I mean, joy has her behind. How can I leave her behind? Joy has her behind. How can I leave her behind? Like, we will figure out the next thing the next day. And then the following day in the morning, you wake up to Joy. Joy has shed the makeup. You're like, and then Joy has actually removed the weave and then hung it on the bed. like a kitu ya kitanda hapa. Joy has hung the wig there. You're like, Joy. There is no more joy here. I'm like, how did you come here? Acha tukunywe maji. What? Things that alcohol can do to you. Things that alcohol can do to you. You're like, tawe. Mundeke. Suye. So when you're producing so much NADH, the same NADH that was supposed or that was inducing the Krebs cycle to give you energy is the same NADH that will block metabolism of glucose on that energy cycle. So now of course, it was supposed to induce energy metabolism. It is very good in terms of brains and central nervous system functions. It is very good as an antioxidant in the liver. It's very good in DNA repair. That is NADH. It also enhances the muscle activity during exercise. That is NADH because there's so much energy coming in. But when you're producing so much of it because of a higher drinking spree, now it starts to block the Krebs cycle. Now you start to struggle. Now when you're blocking glucose metabolism in the Krebs cycle, of course what happens? The body turns to the fats to give you ketones. But you see, you still have high glucose because you ate the ugali. And now you're breaking down ketones to get the ketones. What is happening to you? High glucose, high ketones, both of which you cannot utilize. Problems start. Problems start from there. So please, it's time for you to just drop that alcohol. One day I took a lady who had short arms, and then I realized in the morning, I am not alone. Hey. Yeah, you took a lady who, you're just like, But you see now, you can't tell her. You know when you're drunk, you can tell somebody the truth. If any case, there are people who drink alcohol to come and tell you the truth. Wacha nikukunyie pombe wewe. Wacha nikukunyie pombe nikuambie ukweli yako. So there are people who will actually drink alcohol to come and tell you the truth. The way they think about you. They'll ask you, my uncle can ask you for money to go and buy alcohol to come and abuse you. He'll even tell you, nataka tu 100 niende nipige zangu nikuje nikutusi. And again, if you deny him the money, he'll still get the money, goes and drinks alcohol and comes back to abuse you. You're looking at this, like, anyway, so NADH can block that pathway. You end up having high glucose again, the ugali that you ate before you drank the pombe, and then now you have the ketones causing you acidosis. All right, and alcohol can actually cause you more dehydration. That's why you wake up with a hangover and headaches, because of dehydration. Because alcohol causes you to actually excrete so much urine. You drink, you urinate. You drink, you urinate. More dehydration. You flush out sodium and chloride. Dehydration. That's why those of you who still drink, you'd rather prefer having your whiskey here plus your water plus some salt. But of course, just drop the alcohol. It's taking so much money from your pocket with no benefits, okay? So the alcoholics do not have appetite. And then they block the Krebs cycle, so there's no energy. And then they block breathing centers. Therefore, they have shallow breathing and all that. So they just struggle. And then you can imagine now somebody puts some uchele in your pombe. End of story. You lose memory for about 8 hours. When by the time you're recovering, so they're actually starving. And you remember we said how starvation causes problems with acidosis, right? So they are starving. They don't drink. An alcoholic will prefer using that 50 shillings to buy alcohol. I don't know what happened to Facebook. Facebook just disappeared. Just disappeared. Open this up for me. Just come. I think it disappeared. They got tired. They're like, we don't want this guy here. Let's see. Resume. Hey, Facebook has people with very bad hearts. Just used to close it up. All the same, let's continue. So you're starving at the same time, you're actually causing acidosis, you're causing dehydration and all those things, and basically just alcoholic. Please, let's drop alcohol. Ati so sherehe bila pombe. Sherehe na kahawa. Na kahawa ni black coffee. You tell me if you'll ever get addicted. Coffee without sugar. Tell me if you'll ever get addicted. No, you can't. You can't. So let me take you through these 2 steps of alcoholism as we finish this. If there's any question, you can simply put it there. I think my team will pick it up and I'll answer. Maybe 2-3 questions, then we call it a night. So look at it this way. Those of you who have actually been actively involved in alcoholism, they understand this game. And this game is easy. You start from a level of social drinking, right? You drink with friends, you drink to actually have fun, you drink to actually have sex, right? You know that alcohol will be the easiest way to make sure that women can actually give you access to the sex, because most women get so horny when they are drunk or when they are tipsy. They don't want to have sex. I start crying and asking, where is Tony? Tony is your boyfriend. Where is Tony? I want to see Tony. And there's no Tony in these guys. These guys are telling you, no. You just relax. We'll call Tony. You will call Tony? Yes, we'll call. Okay. Give me a shot. Tony will be called to come and pick you up the following 2 days. If you're lucky. Ladies are laughing. They know what I mean. Where is Tony? They know. And you had to mention Tony. I apologize for anybody who is dating a Tony. I apologize for Tony also. Tony, please forgive me. I didn't mean. Tony, or we have used Johnny. I'm looking for my Johnny. Johnny. The only Johnny you're getting here. If you know, you know. Anyway, so you started on a social platform, you're drinking, you're having fun, you're drinking to clear stress, you're drinking to actually to improve digestion. Those of you who take 1 glass of wine because it's good for digestion. At least Brian tumepumzika. Brian's and Kevin's and Mike's have been saved. So yeah, so you drink as a social function, both for sex, both for relaxation, 2 for the road, because you want to hang out with people and just suit in the club, so you take it. no cravings at all, there's no disturbance, you actually have so much control over this alcohol. You drink and then you move. Alphabet, I apologize, bro. And then you move. And then from there, it becomes now something that is done regular. We drink for the weekend. This is actually how we started. Now we know every Friday we have some money. We'll simply run to town, buy alcohol, go to Thika. Oh, so every Friday we know, the easiest way to get girls, buy alcohol. The easiest way to actually have fun, buy alcohol. The easiest way to have people hanging around you, buy alcohol. And my caretaker didn't like so much. In my apartment, there was no noise. But I would be allowed because I bought him some 2 for the road. When you're buying your JD, you tell caretaker, oh, you know what, I have some 3 cans of Tusker here. Make it happen for yourself. The caretaker is like, yeah, muchili. Wewe daktari. Watu wajui. Unajua tumetoka mbali. Tumetoka mbali. Wapi? Juu ya Tusker 3. Wewe, acha tuweke muziki. So we listen to music every Friday, every Saturday, every Sunday. So now we know every weekend, Lewis is not available. We are drinking. If you want to find Lewis, pokies, blend, alcohol in the house, period. You see that? So it starts that way. Now it becomes, and then there are people, the victims are here. This regular alcoholism is like, oh, you know what, people don't like me, let me just drink. Oh, you know, my mother got sick, let me just drink. I think I'm the problem in my marriage, let me just drink. So these are victims who are here, regular use. Drinking for the weekends, living for the weekends. The victims are here. And then more alcohol. Now there's something called tolerance. It's just coming in. Therefore, you must have more alcohol to get the same effects. Did you know, if today you take 2 cans of Tusker, tomorrow you cannot take 2 cans of Tusker to get the same feeling. You'll have to take 4. That's what you call tolerance. So you have to get more alcohol for the same benefits or the same effect. That's tolerance. Right? Even the injectables. You can't take tramadol 1 vial today and then after 1 week you're still taking 1 vial. No, you'll need 2 vials to actually get you high. That feeling of, the stupor. Right? So that's how it happens. So you start with the Tusker and then you're like, I'm spending so much money to buy these bottles, the beers. So what do? I prefer whiskey because whiskey is 40% over this one that is 6.5%. So more alcohol and we save money. Ati sasa tuongelee maforeign mkuu. Utapiga moja isishike, kesho utapiga ingine. Sasa utapiga 2. No, that's tolerance. But you still have control. You know, you know what, I can drink, I cannot drink. I mean, it's just the weekend. During the week, you're okay, you're going to work, you're doing everything. That is stage number 2, the regular use. Stage number 3 is where the problems start in, the risky one. Risks are starting to come here. Sometimes you miss work because of a hangover. You wake up late, you call in, you say, guys, you know, I'm in hospital. Yet you're not in hospital. Some of you even put a granula here and put on some things, and then you take some photos, and then you post in your work, in your WhatsApp group, kwa ya kazi. You tell them, you know, guys, I'm just from hospital. And the devil lies to you so much because the devil can actually give you an idea. Go to the pharmacy and buy 2 ceftriaxone ampules. Dilute them and pour them out. Then put a granula here and tell them, oh, you see, these have been injected 2 vials of ceftriaxone, 2 grams stat. And then you have this antibiotic that is always in your house because when you're drunk, of course, multiple sex occasions here and there, you end up getting some UTIs here and there. You take an antibiotic. So now you know. You go and buy some Doxy, come and put it there, and then you take a photo. You tell them these are the medications that I'm taking. Daktari said I have gastritis. Yeah. So this one is a risky one because now you're starting to lose control totally, and then tolerance starts to improve. So you start increasing tolerance. Come here. Okay, so intolerance starts to increase because you now have to take more alcohol, and then at this moment in time, withdrawal symptoms start showing up. So when you withdraw from the alcohol a little bit, possibly you've now started taking about 3 days in weekdays and then the weekend. So you only have 2 days you're not drinking. But those 2 days that you're not drinking, sweating is coming. You're in the office and you're sweating. People are wondering, why are you sweating? Sometimes your mouth is shaking. Sometimes you get some few tremors here and there, some confusion. You lose memory a little bit. Anxiety is there. You're always panicking. Ask people who take Mira, they know. There's panic mode everywhere. This guy suspects everybody. Where is my phone? Oh, okay, go up. That is stage number 3. When we withdraw, these tremors come in. So you have to actually maintain yourself in that level. Then the hangovers are also coming in. Right? So you have to actually win the battle of hangovers by taking more alcohol in the following day. You say, tumetoa lock. So you have to take alcohol to fight alcohol withdrawal symptoms. You see that? And then now it comes to dependence. Now from there you simply graduated to dependence. Tolerance is on the roof. Thank you so much, you guys on TikTok, for liking the live. It seems like you guys really like alcohol stuff. You guys, it's just Monday, so most of you are suffering from hangovers. I think so. Because how are you guys? Leo mko na psych mbaya. Mmekwama tu. So hizi barabara tumetembea si wote. Kumbe that's why I turn these cameras to talk to myself. Kumbe I'm also talking to you. Amazing. So anyway, the dependence part comes in now. Now there, you cannot handle it so much. Right? You don't have control. It's no longer fun anymore. Now right now, we are just going, it is totally necessary that you have to take alcohol to function. You've actually become dependent on it psychologically, emotionally, physiologically. You are dependent on the alcohol. You have to take it to function. Now, Daktari has to take something for him to actually do a surgery. Without that, he will be shaking. Now, Mwalimu has to take it to write on the board. There was a guy of mine, a teacher of mine, a very good science teacher in primary school. Muhuya primary school, you guys, shout out to that school, man. So this guy, I don't want to mention his name because he was my best, I think he was my best teacher at that moment in time. This one and the other one for mathematics. You remember? The one who used to put on these hats, the cowboy hats with a cucumber. Hey! But I don't have to shout out to him, madam. Mr. Aura, my headmaster those days. Very good guy. These guys would come with the pink, white, blue chalks. And then he puts his titles in blue and then writes very good handwriting. He used to inspire me, man. Yeah? He does his math and you can see the answer in red. You're like, I want to be like this guy. That's the only time I wanted to be a teacher. Is there something like functional alcoholism? Basically, that is basically dependence. There's nothing like functional alcoholism. It's just dependence. So you have to function after taking the alcohol. Now, there's nothing like, don't be lied to at functional alcoholism. It's just a name to quote a dependence. Now, at dependence level, you're actually craving for alcohol. You see the way you crave for sugars and the cakes? There's somebody who craves for alcohol that much, and cigarettes. These guys, have you ever interacted with a guy who smokes cigarettes? This guy can be so angry now, but let him smoke the cigarette. He becomes the best guy you've ever met. He's even apologizing. You're like, bro, okay. The best guy. So this happens to alcohol. You give them alcohol, they become best friends. And at this moment in time, he doesn't have to take so much alcohol. No. This is what is happening to those people who take 𝗔𝗟𝗖𝗢𝗛𝗔𝗟. He only needs 10 shillings. Given 𝗔𝗟𝗖𝗢𝗛𝗔𝗟 10 bob, this guy is already drunk. Ndo wale tunatoka kwa mtaro mvua ikinyesha. Ndo hawa sasa, dependence. And then they have to drink to avoid withdrawal symptoms. Because when they withdraw from alcohol, punishment, tremors, anxiety, wana cheese, nini, hallucinations, he can't sleep. Now he has to drink to find sleep. He has to drink to actually get the calm. So this is now a problem now. Now from there now, it gets worse when they get to now the addiction stage. So we started from social, now we are addiction. At the addiction stage, that's when it's crazy. Now at this moment in time, wewe tu ni mtu tu bure. Yani wewe, it's like now alcohol drinks you. At this moment in time, pombe imekukataa lakini wewe umesema afadhali niende kwa grave, afadhali munizike. Hapa sasa, inaitwa addiction. Compulsory drinking, and it's compulsive. Right? And I know there are people here who relate with these things. I receive a lot of emails to help people overcome alcoholism. But I'm so glad that on my physical consultation, there's always a guy coming in and telling me, Daktari, you know, I've been fighting with alcohol addiction, but if you see me right now, I'm 6 months clean, I'm 3 months clean. And all because I came to your live and I listened to you talking and I was just like, no, I have to change my life for the better. And I'm like, bro, you're winning. If you've gone 2 months without alcohol, please never go back to that road. Then they tell me, bro, I promise you that I can't do that anymore. There are people who drive back home, and I told you the reason why I actually dropped alcohol is I went to drink, and we were in a group of my friends in Mombasa. There's a club called Mios along Bamburi Mtambo. There's a club called Mios there. So we drank at Mios, and you know Bamburi Mtambo, sherehe starts on Thursday until the next week on Tuesday. So you only have Wednesday to rest. Hey, Bamburi. So Mios, I hope it's still there now. I've taken some time before I went to Mombasa. So we went there, we drank alcohol, and then I drove. Actually, I'm the one who drove, and I had this. I took their phones because I used to be the guy who is I used to think I have control. So I would take their phones because they lose their phones. So I put their phones in my pocket. Some of them I put their phones in my socks, so that they're not stolen. So tomorrow in the morning I'm removing phones from the socks. Ay, daktari. What? So, so this day we drank, and I couldn't tell what time it was. I didn't even have energy to pick a phone from the socks to check the time. So I drove home. I drove all of them. We went home and we slept in my house. But, hey, in the morning, I was like, how did I get here? So I'm waking up at around 11. I'm asking, how did I get here? I can't remember anything. I'm like, how did I get here? So one of the guys is telling me, but you drove us here. I'm like, me? I drove you guys here. How? He's like, no. You took our phones, put in the socks and all that, and then you drove us here. And I'm like, hey, thank God there's no Kajoy here. What happened? I couldn't trace anything. It's like I just went blank for quite some time and just, I was like, this one now. Tawe. So when you hear a drunk person telling you that gari najua nyumbani, it's actually true that the car knows home. But I was thinking, what if we got into an accident? Because I wasn't aware of what I was doing. How did I even drive here and I don't know? Yes, the car knows home. It does. But the risk, my friend, the risk. And I'm carrying people here. That's when I said, I think tumefika mahali imetosha kidogo. I thought I had control because most of you think they have control until Saturday comes. Until Friday comes. And in Nairobi, it's crazy. You start even having that feeling of actually going for these revs on Thursday. So everybody on Thursday at work, they're just like, Friday itafika saa ngapi? Friday jioni itafika saa ngapi? You are looking forward to Friday evening. I know that's what most of you do. But you cannot admit, right? Why do some people take more alcohol than others? Take too much before than others. They take too much before they get drunk. Please, did you realize when I talked to Sedi? Good question. But did you realize when I talked about tolerance? Because there are people who can actually tolerate more alcohol than others. It's all about the tolerance. That you need to take more alcohol to get the same effects. It's the tolerance part, okay? So there are people who can actually tolerate that. There are people who actually have genes that actually produce that hormone, that enzyme that is called alcohol dehydrogenase, that helps you metabolize alcohol faster. So these ones are also lucky. There are people who never get addicted to alcohol. I wasn't addicted to alcohol. So there are people who will drink, yes, they get drunk and all that, but they never get addicted to alcohol. Actually, up to now, I still wonder, how do people get addicted to alcohol? I still wonder. I never smoked cigarettes, so I don't know. But for alcohol, how is it possible that you can actually get addiction to alcohol? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Right? Because, I don't know. I don't understand. Maybe you guys can actually educate me. I don't know. So it's all about tolerance. All right? Yeah. And then, you see, they're like women. Women have alcohol dehydrogenase on their gut wall and then in the liver. So their ability to metabolize alcohol is actually higher than men. All right? Yeah. Men can actually have higher tolerance, but most women can drink and never get drunk. So you're there giving her shots, hoping that, you know what, I just want her to get to a certain level so that I can actually take her home and destroy the organ. This girl is taking alcohol, you're thinking, I'm gonna make a paracetamol chini ya ulimi. Because she's just, now you're even getting broke. And you're like, kwani this one must be, this one is a tanker. No, she has alcohol dehydrogenase that's actually breaking down alcohol so fast than you. So you've gotten to your tolerance level. Now you're starting to get drunk and she's still sober. So now you make a mistake of bringing in some whiskey to add up on the beer so that she can actually get drunk faster. My friend, you'll black out. Oh, that organ, you're not seeing it. You'll black out. Mixing the alcohols. There are ladies who are that way. She drinks and you're like, and tomorrow she's at work. And you're like, but madam aliangusha mzinga 1 liter. Na ako kazi, ana headache. Madam hata hakufungua. Hakufungua. Madam alimix alcohol. She was on that table drinking beer. You called her on this table. You bought her a whole whiskey. She was there smoking shisha. Came back, took the. You're like, and then she also carried some at home. Continued drinking at home, while you blacked out. She's the one who is waking you up in the morning. You're like, huyu, hey, huyu. Nimewachia walevi wenzake. Mimi siwezi. So yeah, so on the addiction level, that's a problem, because now this one you need help. You need counseling, which I see that gentleman doing all the time, but messes up totally. You need an identity fix. You need a rehab. But the rehabs, do the rehabs really help people? I really don't understand. Because in the rehabs, there's a guy of mine who was actually in the rehab about a month ago. Comes out and tells me, "Bana, nilienda rehab. I went to the rehab and there's nothing that was done. It's just like I didn't drink when I was in the rehab, but there's nothing that was done. If any case, the only reason why I didn't feel the cravings of drinking alcohol is because I was looking at other drunkards. I'm like, I'm a better drunkard than these people. So that's the only reason why I was motivated. But the truth is, there's nothing that happened there. The only people who actually get help, in quotes, by being injected sedatives are the ones that are actually stubborn, or the ones that are actually more alcoholic. So that they injected with the injection so that they can actually sleep. So that the nurses can actually continue scrolling TikTok. So here we have health issues. The liver is actually failing. Kidneys are actually failing. You need help at this moment in time. And do not be shy to ask for help. Go and seek help. You will be helped. As long as the need for help comes from inside you, you'll get the help that you need. All right? Good. Any questions? Any questions? I think I've done justice on this topic. Any questions? There was a question here. Rehabs don't help at all. Trust me, I don't think there's anything that happens in the rehab that's going to change your life for the better. You might drop alcoholism, but come out of the rehab excessively fat, and then you relapse soberly. Because 80% of the cases, they relapse. People relapse. I don't know what happened to... Have you ever heard of the story of the famous female boxer in Kenya, 𝗔𝗟𝗖𝗢𝗛𝗓? What happened to 𝗔𝗟𝗖𝗢𝗛𝗓, by the way? What happened to stupid boy? Fear them who take alcohol with water. Mzinga ukikunywa na maji huwezi lewa. Hey. In fact, the rehab, they do what they call titration. And what is that? They limit the amount of alcohol that you drink. Pole pole. But this guy tells me he went to the rehab, he took no alcohol. Not because they tightened it down, no. Or they tapered it down. He just said, I'm not drinking alcohol because now there's no alcohol here. Then he's looking at other drunkards, he's like, I'm a better alcoholic than this other. So imagine an alcoholic looking at others saying, that was me. That was me saying, Jonte, wewe ni mlevi sana. Wewe twende home. Leta simu nikuwekee, utapoteza simu. Then now I'm here, I've driven home. But I can't remember a thing. I'm like, And to make it even worse, that was not my car. The owner of the car was here. He also doesn't remember anything. The one who remembers is just a guy. Anyway, Maria Mwemba. Any questions? Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have to call it a night. We've done about an hour and about 2 hours or so of this show. It was a very deep show because, again, it's the last show we are doing for this month. Doc, just greetings from 𝗔𝗟𝗖𝗢𝗛𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙 this topic has actually impacted you. If it has done that to you, please just make sure you like the live. I would like actually 100 likes on TikTok. You are 178 people here. Just 100 likes. 100,000 likes is not a problem. People on YouTube, don't be so mean. You can simply like the live. I know some of you have even slept. You couldn't handle the hangover. You couldn't handle the hangover. You said, "Ay, Daktari, you're attacking me so much." Good. Thank you guys. 60,000. We are going until we get to 100,000. I'm not leaving you guys. I'll actually end the live on YouTube and still remain with until you get to 100,000. Imagine. I'm that generous. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of us this night. This was our last live for this month. Until next month, inshallah, if God gives us the grace, right? We'll see you on Friday. And remember this, the camp. I still insist on the camp because that is one of a kind. Those who will be there will tell you this. They will actually show you how it was. So one, Health and Wellness Sport on YouTube, a channel that you don't want to miss. If you've never visited that show, that platform, go on YouTube and subscribe on Health and Wellness Sport. Number 2, there is 𝗔𝗟𝗖𝗢𝗛𝗢𝗛𝗓, a platform that will run a live on Friday. So our last live for this month will be on Friday, if God gives us the grace. Of course, here we stay present. But if God gives us the grace, we shall meet here on Friday, doing the live on Identity Fridays. Also, Health and Wellness Sport is rolling an expedition, a camp that is coming in on 1st and 2nd of November. So you have about a month or so to book your slot. Only 25 people. We close the chapter. We are going to Longonot. I've already explained that. It shall be interesting. Number 3, we have a healthy Telegram platform that is called Health and Wellness Sport. Join that platform. 7,000 people there who have brains, who have the understanding of health. They're getting better every day. We educate each other on every daily basis. We open up each other's minds to make sure that all of us are moving on as a team. And it's an amazing platform. Join Health and Wellness Sport on Telegram. We also have weight loss programs that run every month, 3 months and 2 months. So we alternate 2 months with the 3 months program. The 3 months program already started, so next month we're running a 2 months program. So if you missed out on this one, you can join it. The 2 months program that starts in October. Now, all our weight loss programs start on the 15th. Every 15th of every month we have a weight loss program. All right. So thank you so much for those of you who trust us with your health. Those are not weight loss programs. They are holistic approach type of programs that will help you lose weight secondary to living a holistic life. All right. So we teach you how to live clean, how to eat clean, how to fast, how to work out, how to reconnect with nature, how to basically do things that we actually teach on these platforms. So on an individual level. And then from there, you simply lose weight secondary to that. So we don't focus on losing weight. We focus so much on holistic living. And then from there, secondary to it, you lose weight. So that's amazing. Now, if you wish to book a slot in the weight loss programs, online consultations, or the physical consultations that will start in Nairobi from Tuesday next week on 30th, all the way to the 9th, you can use the office contact, 0707 07 47 22. Use that contact to book a slot. If any case, text on WhatsApp, okay? Just send a text on WhatsApp, they'll respond to you and show you how to book for the online consultation or a physical consultation or the camp that is coming up in November or the weight loss program. So all this information shall be given to you through the office contact on WhatsApp. All right. What else? We also have merchandise that we are actually selling to promote and support the channel. Now that we don't tell you to tap the screen or we don't tell you to send us money, no. So we basically create value. And through that value, we get to monetize it. So when you support by buying our merchandise, you're actually supporting a lot of people that are actually making sure that this platform is healthy and brings you this valid information. Because remember, there's so much research that goes on. We have our works to do, but we still have time to actually come here and run this. So you can imagine how much work goes on for us to make sure we prepare a show for you. And to make sure that all these things are actually coming, new content everywhere on all platforms, on Facebook, Lewis Muchile, on Instagram, Lewis Muchile, on X, Lewis Muchile, on Telegram, Health and Wellness Sport, on YouTube, Health and Wellness Sport, and also Uncle Chile on YouTube. So you can imagine all this is so overwhelming, but with your support, we can actually get further. So thank you so much for being an amazing audience. Thank you so much for being kind and generous to support us by buying and purchasing our merchandise. We have fermented cabbages, we have coffee, we have tallow, beef tallow and sheep tallow, we have mugs, we have coffee mugs like this, we have water bottles, we have t-shirts and sweatshirts, we have hoods. All these things are available at Imenti House, and Brian Omwenga can actually sort you out. So simply go to Imenti House, 2nd floor, shop number 60, you will get sorted. So thank you so much for being an amazing audience. I celebrate all of you. I'll see you again on Friday if God gives me the grace, and we shall see what happens there. So you have a good night, and may God protect you, okay? Amazing! Amazing! I am not